Controversy has often walked alongside the public life of Simon Chelugui, a man whose rise from a cattle-herding boy in rural Baringo to one of Kenya's wealthiest cabinet secretaries has been marked by both influence and scrutiny. His most high-profile brush with scandal came during his tenure as Cabinet Secretary for Water. In 2019 and 2020, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations treated him as a suspect in the multi-billion-shilling Itari Dam project. The Kenya shillings 38 billion undertaking stalled after Kenya shillings 11 billion had already been paid to an Italian contractor that went bankrupt before completing even a third of the work. Chelugui firmly denied wrongdoing, maintaining that the project had been initiated before he assumed office. Around the same period, his name surfaced in discussions surrounding the Aurora and Kimwarir dam scandals, though he distanced himself, clarifying that those projects fell under a different ministry. Years later, fresh controversy emerged during his time in the labor docket when his name was linked to a botched overseas jobs and scholarship recruitment program targeting opportunities in Qatar and Finland. He rejected claims of involvement, explaining that his role had been limited to officiating a ceremonial flagging off event. As Cabinet Secretary for Cooperatives and MSMEs, the Hustler Fund, a flagship financial inclusion initiative, also attracted criticism. The Auditor General raised concerns about loans allegedly issued to unregistered members and amounts exceeding set limits shortly before his exit from the ministry in 2024. Chelugui's personal life, usually guarded, also entered public discourse in 2018 when his then personal assistant, Reuben Kiborek, was charged with defiling his teenage daughter at a hotel in Nakuru. The case was ordered to be heard in private to protect the minor's identity and was eventually withdrawn in 2023 due to lack of witnesses and coordination challenges among justice actors. Additionally, an Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission report cited investigations into alleged conflict of interest involving a company purportedly associated with him that secured a substantial tender from a parastatal under his ministry, an allegation that further intensified scrutiny of his leadership. Yet, beyond the controversies lies a story rooted in humble beginnings. Born in 1971 in Oldibis Village in Kisana, Mogodio Subcounty, Baringo County, Chelugui grew up in a modest farming family. His childhood was defined by rural chores, including herding cattle, before he began formal schooling in 1979 at Oldibis Primary School. Due to low enrollment and a shortage of teachers, he transferred to a neighboring institution in 1983 and completed his primary education in 1986. His academic journey later took him to Moi High School Kabarak in Nakuru County, a prestigious institution that laid the foundation for his professional ambitions. He then joined the University of Nairobi, where he earned a Bachelor of Commerce degree in Management Science in 1996. Determined to sharpen his expertise, he returned to the same university decades later and completed a Master of Science in Finance, Investment, and Strategic Management in 2019 while serving in cabinet. He also undertook extensive training in corporate governance, strengthening his profile as a technocrat with policy and financial acumen. Before entering cabinet, Chelugui built a career spanning over 25 years across private enterprise and public service. Early in his professional life, he worked with engineering and construction firms such as Pinelli Construction and Engineering Ltd. And Bauman Engineering. He also served on key government boards, including the National Government Constituencies Development Fund Board and the Betting Control and Licensing Board, positioning himself at the intersection of finance, governance, and regulatory oversight. His cabinet journey began in 2018 when he was appointed Cabinet Secretary for Water, Sanitation, and Irrigation under President Uhuru Kenyatta. During this period, he oversaw major water infrastructure projects and served as chair of the Nile Council of Ministers. In 2020, he was reassigned to the Labor and Social Protection docket, where he navigated industrial relations during the turbulent COVID-19 pandemic. In 2022, he became the only cabinet secretary retained into President William Ruto's administration, taking charge of the Cooperatives and MSME Development Ministry. There, he championed financial inclusion through the Hustler Fund and spearheaded reforms in the sacco and dairy sectors until 2024. Despite his technocratic credentials, Chelugui has long harbored political ambitions in his home county. In 2013, he unsuccessfully ran for governor of Baringo. In 2017, he sought the Senate seat but lost to Gideon Moy. Undeterred, he has announced intentions to vie again for the Baringo gubernatorial seat in the 2027 general election. Parallel to his political life is a substantial personal fortune. During his 2018 cabinet vetting, he declared a net worth of Kenya shillings $796 million. By October 2022, that figure had risen to Kenya shillings $993 million, an increase of Kenya shillings $197 million over 4 years. He attributed the growth largely to appreciation in land and property values rather than new acquisitions. His assets are heavily concentrated in real estate and agribusiness. He owns rental apartments and residential properties in Nairobi, extensive land holdings in Baringo County, a dairy processing plant, and both dairy and beef farms. Earlier in his career, he was involved in rehabilitating coffee factories and operating a coffee machinery business on Bombiri Road, which was later sold. Chelugui is married and a father of at least 4 children. Though he typically keeps his family out of the spotlight, he publicly celebrated the graduation of one of his daughters, Eleanor Geruto Kiprono, from the University of Leeds in the United Kingdom in 2025. His primary residence is in Nairobi, though he maintains a rural home in Oldebess and has been at the center of local discussions regarding settling his family in Kilelwa. From herding cattle in Baringo to managing billion-shilling government portfolios and declaring nearly $1 billion shillings in personal wealth, Simon Chelugui's life reflects the complexities of Kenyan public service, ambition intertwined with controversy, technocratic achievement shadowed by persistent scrutiny, and a political journey still unfolding.